If I created this life before I came here, why on earth did I choose this? This is a question we often ask ourselves on the spiritual journey, so we're going to talk about that today. What do I mean by this subject title? Well, oftentimes we recognise at the start of the awakening journey, it is not an easy time. In fact, it's quite torrid. Our life, at least our mental reality, is being destroyed, crumbled in a sense, because it was all egoic. And thank God it's being destroyed, because we don't like living through the ego. Some of us have larger identification with ego, some of us less identification with ego, but we all have an ego. And our attempt is to integrate that ego. But as we go through this play of life, we may be told that we create our own reality. And I like the idea of destiny too. Destiny meaning, in some small way, destination. And I like to see it as we're co-creators in this existence, powerful manifestors. Of course we are, we're manifesting into this world. Now, who determines the trajectory of our life? Well, we might call that then destiny. Destiny, again, meaning destination in some sense. And so we could perhaps use this analogy, though take it with a pinch of salt because all analogies are limited, but that life, our destiny, is the plane taking us to the destination from one area to the next area as we grow and evolve through life. And so that destination likely will never change. But the way we get there, the things that we do on the plane, on the journey, they're in our control. And we'll talk about this in another video, destiny versus free will, because it's quite an interesting subject to go into. But today I want to talk about the thing we probably all resonate with. Why on earth would I choose this? Not me, I mean you, but also me. You know, we all resonate with this idea of like, this is crazy. At least this experience of life, Why on earth would I be choosing this? So I have some things to say. Number one, though it's not comfortable, contrast, and hopefully we all know what I mean when I say contrast, I mean those negative elements perhaps, those things that we don't really prefer in our life. And for a while in the journey it can feel like they are overwhelming at the start, and that's for sure true. At the start it's very contrasty, but these are where our desires are bred. Meaning when we have a negative momentum towards something, or we have a negative feeling towards something, and that's becoming our internal manifestation, we're breeding deep desires for freedom, isn't it? Or for the opposite of said contrast. And therefore, the more contrast we feel, the more success we will have. That's kind of the point one. Why would we choose all of this contrast? Well, instinctively, we wouldn't. Isn't it? Because it doesn't feel great. But this is our soil that we're nurturing that will create a wonderful flower or growth inside of ourselves. And, of course, those manifestations that we want and dearly hold to ourselves as true for us and part of my authentic journey. Like this. This is a manifestation for me. I don't just mean the background, although that is a manifestation for me. I mean, this idea of being able to serve people in the best way possible, that feels like what I'm here to do, in a sense. But it didn't come about easily, and there was a lot of contrast to dive into. Second point, though, connected to that, is that the more contrast you can engage with, and I'm not saying voluntarily throw yourself into contrast, although actually I have done that too, and it's been very helpful because it gets rid of fear a little bit. But the more contrast we deal with, the more solutions we have, the more perspectives we have in relationship to ourselves, and therefore in relationship to our community. Meaning, the more bad stuff we experience and grow through and heal from, the more of a wide section of our society and our community we can serve. Our value is in our contrast. Somebody, a great sage, I can't remember who it was, so forgive me, said that beautiful things grow in the mud. And it's so true, isn't it? A beautiful lotus flower Or all of these fake flowers, they didn't grow in the mud, they were grown in a factory. But normal flowers, beautiful though they are, started in the dirt. And this dirt is our contrast, isn't it? You know, the most successful people in the world continually taste contrast. And that's why I say it's a co-creation between us and life. Yeah, we're creating our own reality, but it is a co-creation. The contrast is creation, perhaps we could say, of our own, but also, you know, let's say it's external to ourselves, just for this idea. Well, then that's the thing that nudges us and molds us into the person that we are. Of course, we'd say we don't want to create negative experiences for ourselves. But life creates these negative things, these contrasting moments for us. It's not happening to us, is it? We recognize that it's happening for us, because this will create a valuable perspective for me so that I'm able to serve in a bigger way. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean for you that it will be on YouTube. You will serve in your own way, in whatever way it is that your contrast sort of propels you into. Mine was this, because I don't want to sound arrogant, but inside of myself, I've learned a lot about myself in this journey through the contrast, and therefore we learn a lot about the ego. And there's only one ego. We all have it. And the way that it works. And when we begin to become aware of the way that it works, we begin to understand people and human behavior on a really quite deep level. And hopefully, that's why the videos resonate. But it all came about because of contrast. I would never have studied my ego if I wasn't hating my life and really experiencing very dark times. Now, we can often take the victim mentality, can't we, in dark times, and Lord knows I've done it. But trust me, this does pass. These experiences do pass, the dark times, and that's where your value is. That's your diamond in the rough. You're just going through the rough stuff, isn't it, when we're in that moment? Slowly, slowly chipping away at what will become your destiny or your highest evolution. Now, that's not to say that your destiny's set in stone. You're always more than welcome to veer off path, change path, if you feel guided to do that. That's also life co-creating with you, isn't it? And you being a willing participant to that. So, sometimes, nowadays, now that I've got a bit more mature with my, through life experience, because it's life experience that teaches, right? Sometimes I'll scream with joy. Not literally, but like an inner scream. There's an inner sweetness when contrasting emotions come or contrasting moments come. Though it might be tough to take in the first instance, then perhaps breeds a feeling of excitement. Or perhaps that pain can be felt with a little sweetness behind it. Because in essence, this contrast that we're experiencing is about to lead to deeper success. And at the very least, deeper awareness of the ego. And by contrast, perhaps more alignment with self. So, here's to your success. And if you want to know the blueprint towards success, of course we recognize we have to get in at a pranic level, the thing that is us before the mind. And before this life in its physical manifestation anyway. And so to do this, we engage in sadhana. Sadhana just means your daily spiritual practice to bring about the highest aliveness and intensity of energy in the system. And so if you're interested in that, there's some free yoga down below. There's also a free breathing practice for you to engage in, should you wish. There's a free community on Facebook or Discord that you can get engaged with people like you that are going through similar experiences that perhaps don't really fully understand what's going on to them. And trust me, I've been there. And that's kind of why we created these safe spaces. Also, there's some one-to-one coaching. There's an application form down below that you're more than welcome to fill out for free. To check if you're a good match, but the coaching itself isn't free. I hope this helps. Here's to your success. Here's to your exciting contrast, because it will lead you to where you want to be. It is the thing that's drawing you slowly, slowly to that destination of success. Although that's an ever fluid, dynamic thing, of course. I hope this helps. Namaste.